Hello, did you miss me? I'm here and I'm ready for another wacky week of this beautiful podcast. Tonight's guest is none other than Barrow's Ben Bloody Whitfield. I do hope someone asks him what it was like to score against Stockport on the opening day. It's the lower league look. It's the lower league look. It's the lower league look. It's the lower league look.
I don't know what clapping's going to sound like in here, but by the way, I'm going to just say my wall isn't finished. I've only just done this room out in the last few days. It isn't finished. This isn't the finished article. But I have built this little studio myself. I've built it myself. I'm proud.
Exactly.
I'm in a cellar. It's cold. It's wet. It's dark. And we're in. Clap. Oh, I didn't like that noise. I'm going to cut the claps from now. That was an horrible clap.
I'll go.
Nice.
Yours were very nice. Is that what mine sounds like?
Yeah.
Is that what mine sounds like normally?
I didn't even hear yours.
Maybe.
Guys, we're here. We're episode 16. Remembered? Because we didn't do a 13.
I love how you've kept track. I love how you've kept track of actual episode numbers. I've lost track of episode numbers a long time ago. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Like I say, I'm in my new little room. I tried to make it soundproof, but it just echoes. So it didn't really work that well. But I'm here. I've got my Cavonia because I've been poorly. And I've got my throat spray, which I don't know what it does, but it tastes like a dentist's waiting room. But we're joined tonight, Grant. We've got a special guest, another one. There's a young man in Barrow that's doing backflips around his living room right now. He's watching this because there's a question coming. Ben Whitfield joining us from Barrow. Well, not from Barrow because you don't live there, but playing for Barrow. Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
I've just said I've got
absolutely. I am grand.
He didn't tell us.
I'm good.
We don't ask him.
Tell me.
We don't ask him. We never ask him.
Apparently, no one cares about me. So thank you for asking,
exactly.
Ben.
That's what
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. How about you? Are you doing all right?
I'm very well. I've just sat here for 2 minutes listening about his not unfinished room, but I'm good now. Thank you.
But can we just finish before we came on? You said it looked really nice. I've installed the light. Look at this thing. You ready for this?
Unfinished room, feeling poorly. Let's all feel sorry for Liam.
It's got a light in it. Put it in myself. Yeah. Look, listen, I'm not a DIYer, but I did it. So we're here. It is episode 16. Don't know why I'm even keeping track because we don't use numbers anymore. But I think it helps me to upload Spotify. But we're going to have a little bit of a chat about Mr. Whitfield here. Grant, I know you're excited because you've got some questions about a certain part of his career that I had the same questions for. So we're going to go back to the start, to the very, very start.
We always like to go back to the start.
I'm going back before where Grant wanted to go because... But you know what? First of all, I'm going to get one of the questions out of the way that we had. We had sent in because we've got quite a few questions we've got to ask you. This is from a Dan in Barrow, and he wants to know what was it like to score against Stockport.
I knew that was coming. I just did. Surreal. It was good, and everyone asked me at the time, why didn't you celebrate properly? But I think I did celebrate, but I didn't take it over the top, which was. I didn't want to take the mick. I'd just left 9 days ago. But yeah, it was a good feeling. Of course, scoring a goal is the best feeling in the world.
So hang on. You didn't want to go over the top with your celebrations.
No.
People thought you didn't celebrate. What did you do when you scored against Bradford?
Oh, I went crazy.
Where are you from, Ben?
Yeah, Bradford.
Yeah, there we go. And that's why. Yeah, there's no love lost there, is there? Well, that's where you started, didn't you? You were at Bradford until, I think, the age of 16?
Yeah.
And then you were released by Bradford. You went to Silsden for a bit.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah, Silsden, I don't think are a bad... I really rate Silsden.
It was good there, to be fair. It's a good little setup, yeah.
Nice little place. Then you went on to Guiseley, didn't you? Yeah. Grant, I'm going to let you take over because this is where you get excited.
Excited?
Well, you get very easily excited, Grant.
Well, it was the fact that then you go on to signing for Bournemouth under a certain Eddie Howe. And it's difficult to not get excited about Eddie Howe when we're running a League Two podcast.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about Eddie Howe, why you signed, why you made the decision to go to Bournemouth, what it was like playing under Eddie Howe, training under Eddie Howe, and what your days were like at Bournemouth.
Well, I mean, I was supposed to sign at the time Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth then rang me, the chief scout, and said, listen, how do you feel about coming down? Look around Bournemouth, look around the place, the facilities, meet the assistant, meet the manager, that etc. etc. So, like, and you and your dad can come down and we'll pay for you a hotel for the night. So I was close to signing for Huddersfield. My dad went, come on, you've got nothing to lose here. I know it's far away. You're 17, but let's go see. You've got nothing to lose by going down. I went down there and he greeted me at the door, which I didn't even know. I'd never seen the Huddersfield manager. Greeted me at the door with the chief scout, showed me around the stadium, basically spent the full morning with him. Went out to watch training. And it was just, I didn't expect that. I was 17 years old going to a championship club and the manager was there in front of me and just like, it was just like a normal person. It could have been anyone. And for him to do that was kind of a big thing for me because it makes you feel wanted. I didn't have to do that and he did. And I went out and watched training, and after training I saw him again. So yeah, it was good.
Do you know what I take from that story there at the beginning? You said that they said, come down to Bournemouth, we'll get you a hotel, and your dad were like, come on, you need to go. That's a Yorkshire man that's seeing a free night away in an hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, you bang on.
There was no way. Even if you'd signed at Huddersfield, he was still going for night, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
That's the night out in Bournemouth.
Yeah, that's good though. That the fact that he was there and he was willing to meet with you, because we interviewed Don Telford, who went to Stoke from Blackpool. Yeah. Obviously, he was already in the Championship, but he didn't ever speak to Mark Hughes in the 3 years he was there, and that for me is surreal. Because they had the under-23s, and that's where he got moved to. But yeah, I didn't have a conversation with him whilst at Stoke.
That's what I mean. Like, I didn't even know the Huddersfield manager was. I never even saw him, and to this day, I still don't even know who it was. But
I bet you're glad as well.
He was just, it was honestly the best thing I ever did. It was genuinely the best thing I ever did, and I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for me going.
And Mike accident there.
Going down there, so yeah, I'm so happy I did it. Yeah. And to be fair, it was because my dad wanted a free night away and saw the opportunity and told me right, sign it because I want more free nights away.
Well, that's the thing. Then he's like, "Oh, I can go Bournemouth every weekend. He'll pay for us. Oh, the club. Oh, they're gonna make it great. I like it. You've got to respect it. So what? I mean, you were at Bournemouth for a while, but
5 years. 5 years, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you signed your fourth, 2014 to 2018. So yeah. 5 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What? Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
You didn't play for the first team, did you?
No.
In that time, what made you keep re-signing with them?
So I think it was so I signed in January, did 6 months, and then that pre-season I got my first call up to the first team training, and then I did pre-season with basically the whole first team, played for them in the first team friendlies, and knowing how I was never going to play in the Championship. Yeah. For the first team, I was 17. Might have been 8. I was 18. So knowing that, but then just that experience, and then I went out on loan, And then every time I come back that pre-season from my loan, following pre-season, I'd always train with them. And I think just the experience I got from being there was, that's why I just kept re-signing. I thought I'm not going to, if I go sign for a team in the Conference League 2 or whatever, I'm not, that experience you get, even if it's for a month, I wouldn't have got anywhere else.
No, fair play. It does say
it's when you look at the likes of the names that you're playing with as well, and that. So obviously your Callum Wilsons, your Matt Ritchies, Christian Atsu wingers as well coming through.
Yeah.
So was there players there that were was there anyone in particular that took you in as a young player and kind of helped mould you throughout that time when you were at Bournemouth?
Yeah, there was a couple, to be fair. There's Mark Pugh, because he's a Northern lad, so he took me on early doors, to be fair, took me under his wing. And Matt Ritchie, I had a good relationship with him. He was brilliant. As soon as I signed, because we had similar haircuts, I got mistaken for him a few times. It's a bit awkward, but I remember walking in and a load of kids, even some adults, ran up to him. Matt Ritchie. I was like, oh no.
Did you just go along with it?
I tried to, and then they realised.
Well, yeah. And so we know Wikipedia is obviously sometimes miles out, but when it's talking about the clubs before you sign for Bournemouth, it says you've been linked to a number of Premier League clubs as well.
Before Bournemouth?
Yeah. Do you recall any in particular, or was it Championship?
I think there was talks of, I think it was after I'd signed for Bournemouth, that first 6 months.
Yeah.
And when I was playing the 23s, I think I went like 10 or 12 games. I just scored every game, and we were playing like Southampton, Tottenham. And I think then there was started to be like some interest from like things like that, but it never went anywhere. I think it was all just talk, to be honest.
Just your agent bigging you up.
Probably, yeah, at that time.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I know you've got a different agent now.
I do, yeah.
You do. Yeah, we like your agent now.
He'll want a shout out. So cheers, Dan.
Yeah,
Dan.
Cheers, Dan. I've got a quote from Dan to talk about in this. Don't you worry.
Oh, brilliant.
It's not a quote to us. It's a quote that he's made in your career. You'll probably know what it is when we get to it. But yeah, so you're at Bournemouth. You go out on loan. Kidderminster was the first place that you went out on loan. Not a great season.
No.
For them. It ended horrifically, really, didn't it? They obviously got relegated, but on a personal level, Players Player, Supporters Player of the Year award for yourself. I think were you 18 at the time?
Yeah, 18 and then that, yeah.
That's not bad, is it?
No, I enjoyed it, to be fair. Great little club.
Yeah.
Loved it, yeah.
Got relegated. You know, these things happen. Can't always. I mean, the fact that you won the awards, can't blame you. Don't worry, we don't blame you. And I don't think any Kidderminster fans listen to this. But you then end up at Yeovil the following season. I really like Yeovil. Like, I've always really liked Yeovil. For me, I think it's the friendliest place I've ever been in my life.
There's only 5 people there.
Well, there's that, and the ground is in the middle of an old people's housing estate.
Yeah, it is.
You like your time down south, don't you?
Do you know what? It's weird because sometimes I think I really do like it down there, but at the time I think there was only 2 options I had, and they're both down south. So, but yeah, I do like it down there. Yeah.
I was just looking Yeovil, Bournemouth. We'll get to Torquay in a bit as well. But yeah. Sorry, Liam. Just totally cut you off there, mate.
Don't worry. I think I brought my computer then. Don't worry. Going on, doing stuff here. So yeah, you end up at Yeovil. What was it like actually playing for Yeovil? Because they've got that. I don't know if they've had any work done on it since I last went, but the away end used to be. It was like similar to Gillingham's, wasn't it? Scaffolding.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't like that when I was there. It was still open. There was no stand over the away end. There was a stand, so there was no cover.
There's no cover. They had like barbed wire fences above, because we all went dressed as Santa 2 days before Christmas, and we had like nylon Santa outfits on, and we all threw them and got them stuck on barbed wire because we're like, it was going to be a nightmare. And we sat on coach before we left watching them with a brush, trying to get these Santa suits down. You spend some time at Yeovil. Now, you've had one red card in your career. We spoke about this before we recorded, so I know that you remember it, so you can't even pretend. But before I do, I have a question that
Red card, Jeff.
I must have missed it. I've got a question that's been sent in. It's from a Daniel in Barrow. He wants to know what it was like to score against Stockport.
It was fantastic, Dan. Honestly,
Fantastic.
It was brilliant.
Thank you. I'm glad. He'll be happy. He'll be delighted. Grant, I know you've.
I'm glad we've got that one out of the way.
Yeah, I am as well. Grant, I know you've got a question or two as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions as well.
We'll space them out. Red cards. So you got your red card away to the team. Oh, sorry, not at home. Sorry, it was. I can't pronounce. I'm not going to say Yeovil's ground because I've never been able to say it. I'm not going to pronounce it. Can you when you played there?
Hewish Park.
Hewish Park.
I was going to say it's Hewish.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right to me. It sounds like it should be whoosh.
Which sounds better.
Yeah. So Carlisle came down. You're playing them this weekend. You got yourself a red card. What happened? What happened, Ben?
So that week, the gaffer, Darren Way, had been saying, you need to start heading footballs. You don't head it enough. So the keeper's sent it long. I've gone, yes, bang, headed it. Thinking, oh, wow, where's that go? It's just gone straight up in the air. Literally straight up in the air. And then I ran after it full pelt, and the defenders ran at me, and I've gone off. Then just gone like that. Stuck my elbow, gone to head it, but turned, and he headed my elbow. And that's that.
You can take the lad out of Bradford.
See,
I promise I did not mean it.
I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here.
That's not like us.
Right. So, on the subject of heading footballs. So, and I don't know what the talks of maybe down south, but in Scotland, they've been told that the professional clubs are not allowed to head the ball the day before a match or the day after the match in heading. They're not allowed to do it. This is all now to do with potential brain injuries, potential dementia in football. What would the atmosphere be like and training be like if this came in down south? How do football players view this of coming in saying that you're not allowed to head the ball? It's a pretty serious question, but
Ben's not won a header since.
It doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, when you just don't head the ball.
On the Friday, when you're obviously doing your bits on the opposition, there's some teams are direct, so you've got to. That's how the other team that you're playing against, like on the Friday, that's how they play. So I don't know. It won't really work.
I don't see how you can say to centre backs, "Oh, by the way, the day before a match and the day after a match, you're not allowed to head the ball."
Yeah, I can't see that working. It will get to a stage where it'll stop in football completely.
I think it's nice at the minute of footballs to agree not to injure players' brains on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and only Fridays and Sundays. It's insane, isn't it? It's a baffling thing. You can't do it on a Friday. Like, why? Just do double heading on a Thursday, then, don't you? Because they know they can't do it on a Friday.
It
just doesn't make sense to me. I think heading's been about in football for years, and I
think sometimes it's instinct, isn't it? I mean, I've never played football at any sort of level, but like there's the times where the ball bounces up in front of you and you're running, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But who's going to tell you off?
That's a good point.
If they do it on a Friday before the game and they do head a ball, what's going to happen?
That's not as if your coach is going to run on or Pete Wild's going to come on and go, stop fucking heading that ball.
Oh, yeah.
What if you've got shit feet and all you can do is head?
I played with a couple of them.
Yeah. Niall Canavan would get Fridays off. No, I'm joking. He scares me.
He can head a football, by the way.
Yeah, I know he can head a football.
He can head a football.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He wouldn't need to be there. They'd just be like, Niall, don't bother. Just stay at home, son. You're all right. He's gonna. Yeah, I genuinely don't point out who I am when you come down. I just won't
First
be
thing I'm gonna do now.
Oh. He'll head you, Liam.
Yeah, you'll tell him tomorrow, and he'll go, "Yeah, that fucking dick. I remember him." No, right. So anyway, you're at Yeovil. When you got that red card, manager did say, and this is his quote: "Sending off will prove to be a learning curve for the lad." Was it for you?
I edited it since.
There you go.
No,
you're running like that again.
It wasn't like it was so unintentional. I still couldn't believe it at the time. When he pulled out a red card, I literally stood there. Huh? I'd never even been carded before, so to get my first one, it'd be a straight red. I was like, I honestly didn't think it was me. I thought he was going to send someone else off. But yeah, it was. They appealed it as well, so but it didn't. Nothing happened from it. So
it didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't.
No.
What was the chat after with the gaffer? What was the chat like there?
I can't actually remember. I think he said, I know I said to head the ball, but you didn't need to go in with your elbow. Something along them lines. I was like, I didn't mean to. I've never headed one. I thought that's what you do.
You do, don't you? You jump, and that is. I can kind of see. You see it every game.
I've jumped and gone like that, and then thought about heading it, but then just turned my back because I didn't want to head it. So I can honestly say I didn't even go for the header. I've just completely bottled it.
Oh Christ! Well, that season ended. Yeovil finished 20th, and at that point, that summer, you then joined Port Vale on loan.
Yeah,
6-month loan, isn't it? That in the January, you were going to move, weren't you? You were going to move there permanently, but something. Well, this is where I come on to Dan. So, was it your previous agent that stopped that move happening?
Well, yeah, he did stop it happening. But the advice he gave me, I had another club interested, but I wanted to. I was doing well. Yeah. New manager had come in. I was playing every week. I was playing well, probably the best I've played. And I wanted to stay, but I felt like because I liked it at Bournemouth, I didn't want to leave permanently. But the deal was good, and then he basically just gave me completely the wrong advice. And then I was going to sign, went and met the manager with my dad and things like that. And even though obviously I played under him, but he invited me around to his house, and he thought I'd said I was going to sign permanently when I hadn't. But then it all just went, it just went sour, and I still didn't want to leave. So I said, listen, I want to sign on loan. So I signed on loan again for another 6 months.
And then in the summer, you ended up signing on a 2-year deal anyway, because you got yourself a new agent. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
But then after a while at Port Vale, new manager comes in. You ended up transfer listed, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
At the end of the season.
End of the first year, yeah.
And then the contract was terminated by mutual consent. And Dan took to Twitter, and this is my quote from Dan, and he said, "Sometimes you have to do everything you can to get a player away from a man."
Sometimes you have to do everything you can to get a player away from a manager, even if that means taking a step back.
Here, guys.
Anyway,
so your contract ended by mutual consent at the end of the season, and your agent took to Twitter,
and he said,
And he said,
sometimes you have to do everything you can to get a player away from a manager, even if that means taking a step back to go several steps forward.
do you
Remember
agree?
it like it was yesterday.
Did you remember him saying that?
Yeah, because he told me he'd never ever tweeted anything like it, but it was so needed he had to.
Yeah.
It was like, and I think what it means by a step backwards. Obviously, I dropped down a league, but
Yeah.
I needed to do it. Like I said, to take several steps forward.
Yeah. And what so can you go into what went wrong?
So basically, me and the manager had just had a fallout, but the reason for it wasn't right. He told me I hadn't scored enough goals, but I hadn't played under him. The game I played, he came in, I think he took charge of 5 games. I think we'd lost 4 and we'd won 1, and I was the only person to score. So, the reasons he was giving me weren't valid, and obviously I'm not the type of player that goes out and says anything out of line or anything like that, but I just said I didn't think they were valid, and that was that. And then he just didn't like me for that reason, really.
It's a good job your agent, isn't it? It's a good job your agent's there to speak out when he needs to. Then,
and that's what I mean. Dan wasn't happy at all. I mean, I think he tried to speak to him several times, but he was having none of it, so he took to Twitter.
Good on Dan.
Sometimes that's what's needed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing's being listened. Go into the most public place to get your message out, and then people will pay attention to it.
Yeah, of course.
How did the fans react to that? Did you see any fan reaction to you or towards Dan's comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 85% of the fans liked me on the pitch, liked me off the pitch. You get fans everywhere that take a dislike to you. So there was a couple of comments. And it's the comments that aren't true that you see, that someone could say something in the street and it goes all over Twitter when it's just not true. So it's then comments you think, well, do you reply? But I just left it. But I think they know like I was a genuine person off the pitch, and every time I stepped foot on it, I tried my hardest. So worked my socks off and did everything I could, like I have done at every club, really.
And that's all you need to do to keep football fans happy, is show that you're willing to put the work in. If you put the work in, they absolutely love you to death.
Yeah, of course.
We're simple people, football fans.
Some more than others. I have a question. Grant, do you want to do your?
Yeah, I've got a question. It has come in from 2 seconds. I just need to get the name. It's from Dan. He's a Barrow fan, and he said, "Ask Whitfield what it was like when scoring in front of the county fans not long after you've just left."
Oh dear, Dan, it was good. I mean, there's nothing more I can say other than I really enjoyed it. My first goal for Barrow, and we won the game. Most important thing. So thanks, Dan, for your question.
It's a good question. He actually followed it up with a second one. He says, "What was it like scoring against Stockport just after you joined?"
I hated it, Dan.
Yes, I love it. I'm gonna have to stop that. Because I moved downstairs. I'm 2 floors away from the toilet now, and I can't laugh. If I need the toilet, I'm done. Take me 40 minutes. So I'm not well. So you leave Port Vale. Like you say, there's fans that are a bit dicks at all clubs. Let's be honest, they are. But when you say the things that aren't true, and you'll see things written online as a footballer, you'll see rumours put online constantly. I'm guessing. Do you remember anything specific? You got any like particular rumours that you remember, or you read at the time and thought, what?
Not really. It's more the ones where they say, "Oh yeah, his attitude's really bad. He missed training. He'd been on a night out and he didn't turn up for training." When none of that, I'd never missed a day's training in my life. My attitude was spot on every single day.
Did you go on nights out and then go training?
Never. I've never ever done that. I've gone on a night out on a weekend, but never like that's just like someone like. I'm pretty sure every single footballer's done that after a game or whatever.
Yeah, Amari.
But yeah, it's the ones where they say, "Oh yeah, his attitude is rubbish" and things like that. I mean, when the manager made me go train with the youth team at the end, then obviously my head was completely gone. No one comes into training as a professional footballer to then go sent with the youth team to train on my own. Some days I was training on my own, get told I wasn't allowed back in the club and things. So when I'd done nothing wrong.
It's weird to know that actually happens, and it's not just people that do it on Football Manager.
No, that's just that happens.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna do it again. By the way, when we're going back and heading there, I decided that I was gonna check out your heading stat on Football Manager. They've given you an 8.
What's it out of? 8.
8 out of 20.
I thought you were going to say 8. I was going to say brilliant.
It sounds like a generous stat.
I would take that.
You would take that. Okay, so what do you in your career? What do you think's higher, your current heading stat on Football Manager, or the number of headers you've won?
My stat.
I'm going to ask. We'll have to see if we know anyone at Barrow. But I'm going to ask someone to count headers between now and end of season for you.
I'm good at the first part, which is jumping. I just missed the ball, and the defender heads it. But I can jump higher than them. I just don't work.
That's like me with the kicking. I can swing my leg really hard and hit the ball. Not hit the ball, but it doesn't ever go that way. Over there, it goes everywhere. It's great.
I take my hat off to Tom Pope, for instance, at Port Vale. Best header of a ball I've ever seen. And
really?
Yeah, he couldn't kick it. Like we said, they had the conversation about heading on a Friday. He had 3 heads. It was unbelievable. He was so good. Every time you cross the ball in the box, his header would be on target, no matter where the ball landed or from the cross. He was the best header of the ball I've seen. And
then every now and again, you get a footballer who crops up at clubs around League Two constantly, who can't head, can't kick, can't run, and you sit and you wonder. Certain players, as a fan, you look and you go, how do these players continually get clubs? Like, how good is this agent to be able to get this guy a deal at this club? So that is
how rich is Mike Fondop's agent?
Yeah, and that is a direct question.
I thought he was hinting at me then. I thought he was hinting at me and Dan.
No, it's a direct question for Theo Robinson. The one for me, no, I'm joking. I love Theo Robinson and Mike Fondop. We've had a bit of Mike Fondop was our first ever subject on this podcast. We just spoke about Fondop for an hour. And then he signed for Oldham and I went and met him. Such a guy. So you ended up going to Torquay. You took that step backwards to take those steps forwards, and you went to Torquay. You ended up playing there under Dave Challoner.
Gary Johnson.
Right, we're going to edit that out because it's Stockport where you played under Dave Challoner.
Yeah.
Fucking few. I'm poorly.
And by the way, a very successful Torquay team with some fucking good players in that team as well.
Yeah, that first year or second year? Well, both years. Both years. We first year we started off really well, and then we went on a bit of a bad run. But that second year, I got injured in the March, but that whole first 6 to 7 months, I think we played Stockport the opening day of the season, that second season.
Who did you play the last game of the second season? Do you remember?
Last game of the second season.
I mean, that would be the playoff final.
Was it
wouldn't
Hartley? Yeah,
Yeah.
Hartlepool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if you meant the playoff final. I thought you meant the.
Yeah, no, the last game of the season. That's where I got Challoner from, I think, because you obviously played pools.
Yeah.
See, I have logic with everything I do, which just doesn't always make sense to everyone else. But yeah,
we went in from that game and said we're going to win the league, and we went all at will. We just missed it, but we had a great group that year.
You did. You went on to the playoff final. I think for me, one of the best playoff finals I've ever seen.
What a crazy match!
Yeah, it was mad. It was mad.
We have a question for you about your keeper that season,
Lucas. Yeah.
What is he like?
Crackers.
Right. So is that just him in a nutshell?
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's just crackers, nuts.
Like he just comes across as mental.
He's not got the best decision-making skills.
He had some game though, flipping heck.
Oh, he did.
Oh,
I don't think you'll ever write that.
A crazy game, and it came off the back. So Alisson had just scored the header for Liverpool, and then he was like, "Right, I'm just going to go and do the exact same thing in the last minute in the playoff final."
Yeah,
and go and score that, because Pools were flapping coming to the end of that second half because Torquay were just firing everything forward.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, you battered this first half, I remember, and because we played you early in that season and beat you 5-0 at your place.
You beat us 5-0. Yep.
And you were a completely different team. But I think when he scored that game in the 91st minute, whenever it was, I just thought, yeah, that's it now. We'll win this.
I had to watch that at home. So me and my dad were sat, and as soon as that went in, he was going, I need to phone you in a group chat call. I'm not getting on the phone for extra time and penalties for this. And I was like, I can't go through another season of this. And it was horrible, but what a game to watch.
Yeah,
like,
it was. It was brilliant.
So I like how Grant says, I can't go through another season of that, like he's not about to.
We're going through a season. We're going through this season. Who is the crazier goalkeeper? Is it Kovalan or is it Artur Boric?
See, I never really got that close with Artur Boric. All keepers they're in their own little world, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say Lucas, because I spent a full season with him and he's nuts.
Did you see his red card earlier this season?
Which one? I swear he's had about 5.
No, I don't think he has this season. I think he went on loan, didn't he, to Chesterfield?
That's where he's at. He's still at Chesterfield, isn't he?
Yeah. His stamp.
My favourite one was when he kneed Harry McCurdy. That was quite funny.
Last season?
I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, this season, completely off the ball, striker down on the floor next to him. He just went, bang, stamped on him.
He might have had one, I think, at Torquay. And then he went to Port Vale. And he got like 2 or 3 there. And then he's gone to Chesterfield. He did it again. I was like, oh, God.
It was it was like his first 2 games that he had. It was the first game of the season for Port Vale. He gets sent off. And then I think someone must have paid him to knee Harry McCurdy because everyone was just laughing about it. And then he just dropped him completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about who would win a fight then? Canavan or Kovalan?
Canavan. It's not even close. It's not even grand. Canavan would win that fight with me, you, and Ben on his back.
Yeah, I was going to say Canavan could take on the whole Torquay team plus Kovalan and still
Yeah.
come out on top. I would not be going near that man.
No, not at all. He's when he left us last season, obviously he left not under a cloud because we were gutted when he left. But he's from the story we understand is he stood up for might have been Finn Cousin Dawson. He stood up for him when Derek Adams essentially said some stuff that he shouldn't have said. Basically threw him under the bus in a post-match interview, and Canavan stood up and said, "Nah, that's not right." And 2 days later, he was gone.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, don't fully know the reasons, but he would probably still be here if he'd not been that sort of person that will stand up for the which is what he needs. To be fair, no bad blood, I don't think, from Bradford. Obviously there'll be those fans that still boo him when he comes, but don't worry, he's used to it. He got booed a lot last season as well in first half. I love it. So after Torquay, you were linked with a move to Swindon. Is that right? I've got here.
I think that was before I went. I played a game when Port Vale put me on the transfer list. I went on trial at Cheltenham and Swindon, and then obviously that never happened. So I went to Torquay.
Actually, we've got it here. At the end of your Torquay contract, it says you were linked with a move to Swindon and denied. You rejected Torquay's new contract and then signed for Stockport.
Oh no, it wasn't Swindon. What have been Swindon? Might have been. No, I don't think it was Swindon. No, it might have been Sutton.
Oh, don't know. Yeah, maybe Sutton. It's got Swindon, but we'll say Sutton. I like Sutton as well. So you end up at Stockport with Dave Challoner, I believe. But just before we do, I've got a question that's been sent in from it's a YouTube page this is coming from. I think it's French because it's Barrow en Tour. It wants to know, what was it like to score that goal in front of Stockport fans just after you'd signed for Barrow?
It's funny you should ask that, because I actually hadn't heard that question in quite a while. Yeah, it's really funny. And I've been thinking about that this whole live too.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, here we go then.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it.
You really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I did.
Good answer.
Good. It's a good answer. It's a very good answer.
Thank you.
But before we talk about, I've got a question about scoring against Stockport later for you. You signed for Stockport first, 2-year deal July last year for Dave Challoner.
It was for Sam.
No, sorry, it wasn't for Dave Challoner. Sorry, it wasn't for Dave Challoner, was it? Because Challoner didn't come in. That's what I was just reading. And Challoner didn't come in until sort of November time, did he? When he left the Bulls. But in the summer, you already spoke to Challoner, didn't you?
I had, yeah.
Yeah, so we're allowed to talk about that. That's fine. Yeah, so you'd spoken about a move to Hartlepool. That was, from what you'd said before we started talking here, is that was a pretty serious offer. Yeah,
we had. I met him, had a serious chat with him. I played against him the year before, so I knew what his teams were like and knew him as a manager. And every player wants to go where they wanted, don't they? And he seemed to have serious interest. Yeah.
So why didn't it go through in the end? What was the reason you didn't end up at Pools?
And
why was it Raj Singh?
I think Stockport, I don't know. I think everything about it as a whole, facilities, they'd just been taken over by a new owner. When I met them, the project they had, I sat down with the CEO there and he literally ran through the next 4 years and it was something that excited me, and I looked at it and thought, you know what? It reminded me a lot like when I signed at Bournemouth. That's how I can describe it. And that's what I instantly thought of. So I thought, you know what? Like, I know it's the same league, but I know there's rumours. Obviously, they spend a lot of money, etc. But the facilities and the players they had and the fan base and everything, I just thought, you know what? We're going to have a real good go, and I want to be part of. I had a good taste of it at Torquay, getting to the final. Why not go one further? And I know the Football League interest was already there at the time, but I thought, well, I'd like to be part of a big promotion push and see where it takes me.
They're a team that seems to have a clear vision just now of where they want to be in the next 3-4 years. They want to be League One, even pushing to Championship. That's how I see Stockport right now.
It's infuriating for you, isn't it, Grant?
It kills me still. Me. Manager. No.
Yeah. Well, did you meet? Obviously, you were there for a while, but I'm guessing you did. Steve Bellis is club president there, isn't there?
Yeah. What a guy.
He's honestly, I met him earlier this season and just introduced myself. I thought, I'll just have a quick 30-second chat with him. I sat with him for probably an hour and a half.
Yeah. What a lovely guy. Yeah.
Like he's. I'm going to. There's a game we play them in January, which we don't know what weekend when it's happening because of the FA Cup and if we get through. But what we've said is, if they get through to the FA Cup, I'm still going to go because he's invited me. I'm going to have a sit down with him. Like, such a nice guy. Yeah, and it does seem like there's not many bad eggs at that club at the minute.
No, there wasn't when I was there. I mean, he was so welcoming, and well, the day I signed, I got a massive paragraph off him, and I think he does that to every player. So, it's not often you get that, and fair play to him. He's a lovely guy.
He is Stockport through and through, isn't he?
Yeah, massively, yeah.
It's great. So, in November time, Dave Challoner comes in. The club are sitting 8th, I believe, in the National League at the time, and Challoner comes in, and the year before he's taken Pools up in the playoffs. He just comes in and you guys just steamroll everything that's in that league, everything that's put in front of you.
Yeah.
I
got injured at his first game.
Yeah.
I scored against Bolton and then fractured my metatarsal, which wasn't ideal.
No.
But it happens, doesn't it? I think. Not while celebrating, I guess, but sometimes it happens. And he just came in and had a clear vision of where he wanted to go with the club, and he just, everything that got put in front of us, they just smashed it. Fair play to the boys.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think when we looked at that league last season, we couldn't pick who it was going to be because you had yourselves at the time, you had Wrexham, who obviously you're always going to put Wrexham to be there because what they're doing money-wise. Yeah. You had Chesterfield. Obviously, things went horrifically wrong for Chesterfield. It's such a tight league, and obviously the 2-up system. I don't think it's fair.
No,
it is what it is, isn't it? So you end up coming up, or you end up obviously winning the league. You've got another year left on your contract.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation obviously then comes about that you can leave. How does a manager? Well, not how does a manager? Because I know every manager treats it different, does different things. Phil Parkinson, for example, Grant's dad will love this. Grant's dad hates Phil Parkinson.
Doesn't like him. Don't know why.
No, he can't tell us why. He genuinely can't tell us why. Because obviously, for me as a Bradford fan, Phil Parkinson is the best manager we've ever had.
Yeah.
But Phil Parkinson, I did an interview with a couple of ex-players from that season at Bradford, and they said that at the end of the season, they think he had 2 phones. And what he would do is he would call you, so your phone would start ringing, but he'd call you off the other phone at the same time, so that when this phone then started ringing, it'd go to your voicemail, he'd disconnect this one, and then he'd just leave you a voicemail, so that he didn't have to speak to you in person. And it was silly things.
Nice.
Like
It's too clever.
it was very clever, but he left a voicemail for one player. I don't know if I can say it. I can't remember if this part was on the podcast or not, but he basically he said that he left a voicemail saying after he'd sent him home for the summer, saying there's a deal for you, definitely, it's on the table, I've had it all approved, I'll be in touch. He left him a voicemail saying, look, I'm not even going to show you what they've offered you. I think you should find another club. They're not even offering you anywhere near what I think you're worth, blah, 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 blah. And in the end, the player ran back and was like, no, I want to see the offer. I'm still interested, because he really liked being at the club. He's like, I'm coming to the end of my career. I still want to know. You know, I'd be happy to look at taking a bit. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna let you see this. It's insulting. And they just never spoke to him again.
Oh, wow.
And that's how he used to let people go from their contracts. I'm hoping that Dave Challoner's not like that.
No. I mean, it was, to be fair, because when I came back from my foot, I pulled my quad as well whilst rehabbing. So then I struggled, but because I'd done my foot, I didn't want to. I played with my quad like pulled for a couple of weeks because I just didn't want to sit out. I didn't know it was pulled at the time. I just thought it might have been like just severe DOMS or whatever. And I struggled to get back in after I'd sat out for a while with my quad. And then I finally got back in on the last game of the season, came off the bench. Because we had such a strong squad and you can only have 16, I even struggled. I couldn't make the squad.
How's that mentally for a player when you can't make the squad?
Tough.
And that is what you've been doing for year in, year out. How does that affect you mentally?
I mean, that's the first time I've ever had it where I haven't made a squad on a Saturday. I mean, I've been told at the end of the season I can go like at Port Vale, but during the season I've never not made a squad, and that was the first time, and it was tough because when it's like the first time you kind of don't expect it. So yeah, it was frustrating as well because I felt like I was training well as well, which was the hard part because I couldn't understand why I wasn't then getting a chance.
Did he bring Ollie Crankshaw in when you got injured? Is that why he brought Ollie Crankshaw?
No, he brought him in. I played on the opposite flank when I was at Bolton. He played on the right, I played on the left.
Right. Because obviously he brought him in midway through the season, didn't he? And he sort of became his super sub.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He came in with the vision of playing a 4 at the back, which the old manager was playing a 5. So 4 at the back meant he played with wingers. And he said I was a massive part of the plan because that's what he wanted to play. But then I got injured and he had no other wingers at all, which was obviously, he found a new way when I was injured and it worked and they were flying. So he wasn't going to go away from that. And I understood that. I got my head around that bit, but I can also play in a 10. So
did you revert back to his 3 at the back with 2 wing backs?
Yeah. So I get that it was working for him. We've won 15, 16 games in the bounce. I ain't going to come back from injury and go, I deserve to be playing, because that's not me. But so I understood that. But yeah, like you say, it's difficult when you're not getting in a squad. It was tough. And
then how does the conversation come about for you to move on? Does he come to you and say you're free to go, or?
Well, we had our end of season meetings, and I went in there honestly thinking, right, he's going to go. Listen, Ben, thank you, but I'm bringing in players and you're not going to be part of it. But it was a complete opposite. And he went in and he said, listen, you've had a frustrating season. I know what you can do. We've both got unfinished business in League 2. Let's have a real good go at it next year. You were part of my plans. And pre-season came about and that kind of all changed.
Right. No, that's crap, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, quite early on in pre-season, I got the hint that Barrow was interested, but didn't get the hint that Stockport wanted rid of me. Right. It was only till a bit later on in pre-season, 9 days before the start of the season, because that's when I signed, that they didn't want me anymore.
And then so 9 days later, you played Stockport, didn't you, in the opening game?
I believe you scored against them as well.
I have a question that's been sent in about that goal.
Yeah.
What sort of question?
He's actually, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to describe, because it's a video. He's done interpretive dance for his question. But essentially, what I think he's saying, his name's Daniel, and he's from Barrow, and he wants to know.
I know him. You know,
you might know him.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Troy. He's a bit like Troy McClure. He's been in everything, including your DMs. So, oh, Dan, you know we do like you, really. Come on, it's just we've got to laugh. We don't laugh. We'll all cry about this, Dan. But yeah, Dan wants to know, what was it like to score that goal? To be fair, I know we've obviously joked about it and stuff, but I really do want to know, because that was what was it actually like?
Do you want my actual serious answer now?
Yes. Well, purely because we predicted last season, when we saw Stockport get to the top of the league and they started steamrolling, we said Stockport have got the ability to go back to back here.
Yeah, that's what we talked about pre-season too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you look at Barrow's last season,
you look at everyone's league predictions, you see everyone was predicting Stockport at the top, and the vast majority of people were massively putting Barrow at the bottom quarter. A lot were putting them in the relegation spots.
No, they were. Yeah.
I remember sitting and watching the most dull 0-0 game of football I've ever seen in my life on the opening day against Doncaster, and looking at the score between Barrow and Stockport and going,
fucking hell,
this is going to be a special season.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pete Wild effect is just massive, isn't it? So
massive,
we will come to that question, but just about you, yeah, we'll let you finish about signing for Barrow first. So you got wind that they were interested, and then found out that you were free to go.
Yeah.
Was it just Barrow?
Yeah, but I think that was severe interest, that they'd approached me and Dan, and Stockport. So yeah, they obviously. Then I went and met Pete, and I think meeting Pete just kind of he just sealed everything really. As to be fair, because Stockport at the time I'd met Pete, Stockport said you can go and meet him, but they hadn't said I couldn't go, so they didn't say I could go yet.
Right.
Like leave the club, but they said I could go meet Pete. So me in the back of my head still thought I had a chance at Stockport whilst meeting Pete, but I wanted to go see what Pete was, obviously what his plans were at Barrow.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think I hadn't made a decision properly, and every day I wake up and think I need to go sign for Barrow, and I'd go into Stockport training, and training would be good, and I'd enjoy it, and I'd do well, and then I'd get home and it'd be in my head again. I think, oh, do I, don't I? Then I wake up again and go, I need to go to Barrow, and I think I must have had a conversation with my missus, my dad, every couple of hours, every day for about a week.
A real difficulty is it's two class managers, I think, there as well. And we said all last season that they are head and shoulders the best managers that were in the National League last season.
Yeah.
And I still think the two of them are two of the best managers in League Two.
Yeah, 100%. What Pete Wild did with Halifax last season, I mean, well, you see, look at Halifax this season when he's gone, and then you look at last season's Barrow and this season's Barrow.
I know.
There's a common thing with them. There's something special in both guys there, you know, Challoner and Pete Wild. But when you meet with Pete Wild, then I'm guessing it's around Manchester, because that's where Barrow sort of training and stuff. Which is
Knutsford, I think, with that. I think
because he's from that area, isn't he? He's from around that area.
Yeah, he's from around here.
Yeah. So you end up meeting with Pete Wild. What does Pete Wild sell you about this season coming up? Because he's not managed a Barrow game properly yet.
No.
He's inherited a team that finished fourth bottom, Grant, third or fourth bottom?
Third or fourth bottom, and he'd had not much time, because obviously he went through the playoffs
Yeah.
He went into the playoffs for Halifax and then had the shortest time to build a squad.
Yeah.
Because building a squad from the playoff final to the start of League Two is a matter of weeks.
Yeah. So what does he say to you? Like, how does he pitch this season? What did Pete Wild in pre-season think this season was going to be?
Well,
Don't say he said to you at beginning of December we'll be sat fourth. I don't believe that.
No, that's the thing though. He was just so down to earth, and he sold it in a way of how he played and how, because every time I played against his sides, he'd always speak to me after. We'd always have a chat after. I remember my old manager, Gary Johnson. I remember him having a go at me speaking to Pete after we just played Halifax live on TV, and Pete pulled me on the way out, and we were laughing, like having a little joke, and then Gary Johnson told me off for it. And then we had that chat, to be fair, when we met. But he just thought the way he wanted to play, his formation he wanted to play, how he's going to go about the season. You can never predict where you're going to be. Like, I was going there with seeing the predictions like you just said, that they were going to be bottom two. But knowing what he'd done with Halifax and seeing the way he played with his teams he's had, he didn't really have to sell anything to me as, we're going to go win the league. It was just more about how he was going to improve me as a player, as well as be part of that team. As like, he wanted to improve everyone individually.
Yeah.
So I'd never really had that before, when someone's come in and gone, right, individually we're going to work with you to improve you, as well as win football matches on a weekend, which is ultimately what his job is about. If he don't win on a Saturday, they don't care if they've improved Ben Whitfield. Do you know what I mean? And him to say that whilst he's got the pressure of going to win on a weekend kind of made me think, well, if he can improve me, everyone can improve, and I know I could improve. And he does that on a weekly basis now, which is exactly what he said.
Fair play. When you sign for a club and there's certain points, I'm sure, where you go, I've made the right choice here, or I've made a horrific mistake. How far into your time at Barrow did you go, this has been the correct decision?
After the second game of the season, genuinely, after the Bradford game, I think we just won 3-2 against the league favourites, and then we go against Bradford, who was supposed to be up there as well, and we go do the exact same, but concede in the 91st minute and then go and win it in like the 95th. I just thought then you can beat a team on by luck against Stockport, but then to have the team to go do it again the week after, I thought, you know what, I've made the right decision here. Definitely.
I remember our messages during that, because after the first game we were both like, fucking hell, Barrow. And then you were like, I'm a bit worried about next week. And then you just go out and do it. And I'm like, holy Jesus, this season is going to be crazy. Barrow are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
That's when, like I said, that's when I knew. And just the group of lads we've got as well. It's the togetherness is class.
It's when you seen at the end of the first game, Pete Wild going over at the fans, he was just going mental. And you just knew from the start that he was going to have this relationship with the fans, have this relationship with the club, the exact same that he'd built with Halifax, and he's looking to do it. He's looking to push his onwards and upwards, and I actually think it's a really exciting club to be involved with at the moment.
You're right, it is massively.
It is, and do you know what? Like I've dealt with a lot of people at Barrow. I've had a lot of conversations with staff at Barrow, and people couldn't be nicer. Like it seems to be that there's just, top down in that club, everyone wanted to help with the things that I went to them with, and that's big for me. Like, especially doing what we're doing we're a League Two podcast. We're not anything special. We don't claim to be, but what we're trying to do is give League Two the view that we don't get as a league. League Two doesn't get the coverage it deserves. We don't get the Sky games. We don't get that sort. So we're just trying to do that, and 23 out of the 24 clubs accept that and work with us. There's only one that doesn't, which I won't name. That puts 23 clubs on alert going, have we said yes or no? Have we said yes or no? But I can guarantee the one he's going, yep, talking about us. So that goal against Stockport, by the way, we haven't covered it off properly, but genuinely, what's going through your mind at that moment leading up to that goal?
It was like I played against Maka was right back. He was probably the guy I was closest to at Stockport. And he kind of was stretching for it and knocked it in my path. And I only had one. I took a touch and I only had one option really.
Yeah.
And there was such a tight gap. And I thought, we'll just shoot. And then I put my head down and then just saw the net ripple. And I don't know, I just thought, flipping heck.
What does he say to you though then?
What, the manager?
No. Obviously the right back.
Oh, and do you know what? I think he just went, finish wits.
He's thinking I'm gonna get ripped when I get in that dressing room.
But to be fair, like you say, it was. I didn't want to over celebrate because I understood that I'd just got promoted with him. It had been 9 days.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna go flipping celebrating in front of the Cheadle and going crazy. But I was absolutely buzzing.
Ben, I'm not going to lie. If I was in your position, then I would have taken every item of clothing off I had and done laps in celebration.
It went through my head, I can't lie.
It would have been the most hated man in Stockport as well.
And the thing is, if the fans were so nice to me, so I wouldn't have done that. I had a lot of respect for them, and they had a lot of respect for me, so I wouldn't have done that. And
well, if you can remember that, remember where you're from when you play Bradford. Just remember that. Remember where you were born and raised.
I'll try.
You'll try. Oh, I'm dreading it. Honestly, I'm dreading it now. I'm not, because I mean it'll be hilarious, and I'm at that point.
I mean, he's already done it to me when you battered Hartlepool the other week. He's got to do it. He's got to do it to you as well.
I tell you what, though, and this is where it gets a little bit awkward then, Ben, doesn't it, really? Because I bet you wish you'd come on after that Hartlepool game and not after last week's game.
Yeah, we won't talk about Friday. We won't talk about Friday.
Oh, we won't, will we not?
No.
It was not. To be fair, though, and we won't. It wasn't. It was a horrible result for you guys. Stevenage aren't mugs this season.
Honestly, if they play like they played on Friday, they will go win the league hands down.
You think they'll win the league?
Yeah. If they play like they did on Friday,
yeah,
every single week, not one team in this league will beat them.
Yeah.
And
I'm really glad you've said that.
Honestly, they were physical, they're resilient, everything. They were very, very good at what they did, and I wouldn't even say we were out fought or battled, or in football terms, we weren't outplayed on the pitch. They just were direct. They just knew, and they were just clinical. And there were 2 great finishes, 2 set pieces, and a penalty. And you think, well, fair play.
Yeah, and it's everything you expect a Steve Evans team to be as well.
Yeah,
and he's doing it. You guys and Stevenage this season. I mean, we predicted Stevenage because we
predicted they'd do well. We didn't predict they would do this well.
I had Stevenage 5th in my prediction.
I can't remember where I had them in mind.
I had them finishing 5th in my prediction. I had you guys down. I think I had you guys like 20th, 21st. I did. I had you relegation. I did. I had yourselves in Carlisle. I had Carlisle just for laugh because Carlisle fans are really easy to wind up. If you don't lead with an elbow, you can just lead with a tweet. But yeah, no. So look, we don't really need to go into Friday because it's Steve Evans and it's a Stevenage side who this season are really, really doing some impressive stuff. So we'll talk about that Hartlepool game the other week. And there's a reason though. No, there is actually a reason, because so back in early October, we do a weekly 606 Twitter space where fans come on and have a chat. And Grant was talking about Hartlepool. 15 games into the season we were. Hartlepool were on 9 points after 15 games. And Grant
You love bringing this up, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Grant very boldly said Hartlepool
to the end of the year. This is the games to the end of the year.
9 games left of the calendar year. Hartlepool are getting 15 points. I said, Grant,
you've got 15 points.
I said, Grant, you've got 9 points from 15 so far. Where are these coming? And he listed results. And it was so, it was the teams it was picking. He was going, Barrow, beatable. I was like, you were second or third at the time. And I was like, Barrow, beatable. Like, honestly, when you've said, I'm gonna ask you a difficult, not a difficult question, because for me it's a really easy question. But you said if Stevenage play the way that they played, they'll win the league. Do you think? I'm guessing you've played both of the bottom two at the minute. Gillingham. Is it Gillingham and Pools, Grant, at the minute?
Gillingham and Hartlepool.
Have you played Gillingham yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drew one each.
Do you believe that Gillingham and Hartlepool are in a false position? Or do you think?
I mean, we played Hartlepool at our place, and I think every time we walk out onto our home pitch, I don't know what it is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can't put the finger on it either, but we're like Stevenage did to us. We're a very out of possession, solid, and in possession, clinical. Gillingham we played away from home. Rector, I think we went 1-0 up, and then they scored from a set piece. And I think they're struggling to score goals, aren't they? I think
they've scored 6.
Yeah, I think that's an area obviously that they're struggling with, and I think if you're going to stay in League 2, you need to be scoring goals. A few of our lads have had Keith Curl as a manager before, and they say he's a good manager. So I couldn't tell you who's going to go down. Honestly, it's League 2.
I'm going to be fair in this match, Liam. In that defence, we had 3 fullbacks playing in a back 4. We only had one. We only had one fit centre back. Big Josh Umera was injured and suspended for that game. Yeah. It was. And if you're just sitting there as a team and people, I was like, right, lads, we've got a makeshift defence here. Fill your boots. You must love hearing that as an attacking player going, this defence has been thrown together. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the analysis that goes in at Barrow is second to none. They do everything down to a T, and we knew that, especially when the team got named, we knew there was 3 full-backs in a back 4. So that was an area we could target. But I think, like I said, I think when as an attacker, when you go out on a football pitch anyway, I think the way, especially we play at Barrow, if you're not confident, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be, because of the start we've had and some of the teams we've beaten already when we were supposed to be down there, as like they said at the start. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be confident as a collective team, and especially going forward.
100%. Grant, question for you. We spoke about that one game there. You had 3 fullbacks in defence. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. About the other 19 games.
This podcast isn't about me and Hartlepool.
Thing is, so going back to Grant's 15 points from 9 games, we're now 8 games into that 9, and he's got 3 points. So Grant's currently trying to work out how this weekend he can potentially get 12 points out of one game.
Who have they got?
This weekend was Friday's Crawley, and then there's Rochdale. That's a 6-pointer. There's Newport coming up. That's a 6-pointer. Every game's a 6-pointer just now. And then first game of the year is Harrogate as well. 6-pointer.
Wow.
I'm writing off Mansfield.
I'm going to the Crawley Hartlepool game, so I'm going to give a fair assessment of this. Yeah.
They've just
Well,
got
look,
a new manager, haven't they?
Yeah, Matty Everington. Jury's out. Cracking result at the weekend.
Yeah, they did. They won. They won, didn't they?
Yeah, Swindon 2-0.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't bad. Yeah, do you know, this is between us. Oh no, I can't say this. This is horrible. This. No, I'm going to say it. Between us this weekend, 13 goals shipped. This is not good. You count as double, to be fair. You count as double, so you get the 5 for Barrow, and then you get the 3 for Bradford as well. So we'll 16 goals between us. Absolutely fuming. Well, look, we've.
Shall we get on to some questions?
Oh, I've got one.
I was going to say about your teammates.
We will do. Before we do, one last question. It's from Dan in Barrow. He wants to know, what was it like to score against? Did he message you as well?
He's messaged me asking, yeah.
Oh, well,
that's how I just knew.
Oh, there you go. He's the only Dan in Stockport.
He must be.
No, in Barrow. Right, Grant has some questions for you. Ready?
Ben, are you ready? So Dom Telford was right up for this. So I hope you're as up for it as Dom was. So
right, come on.
This is questions on your teammates. First, who has the worst taste in music?
Worst taste in music? Oh, that's a good question. Because I honestly don't. I've never really.
Anyone in the chain back in the lockers putting the tunes on, you're like, that is just awful. Get that off.
No, we have one DJ and he's Josh Kane. He's bang on every game day. So that's a question because I don't actually know the answer to that.
So what sort of tunes is he putting on?
Jordan Stevens, with a few songs that have been played in the change rooms that are bangers, and he's gone, this music's crap.
What's the bangers in the changing room?
There's some old school, like just from like the Killers have been played and things like that. And then he's just like, nah, this is rubbish.
I bet Niall Canavan listens to Eiffel 65 and Cotton Eye Joe and stuff like that.
Right. So since we don't know that one, who's the worst dressed at the club?
Worst dressed?
Barrow.
Worst dressed, I would say Connor Brown.
Have you got an example of why?
Terrible. He's came in the other week with like a sheepskin jumper, like it just looked like he'd coming in his rug. Yes, definitely. He's the worst dressed, 100%.
Who's got the worst trim?
Oh. There's a few hanging on for dear life, let me tell you that. Josh Kay's hanging on for dear life with his trim. He's got a flip-flop head. Worst trim? Such a difficult question when you just know there's some players really hanging on with their hair and you know it's about to go.
That's what Grant's been like.
I just shaved mine off.
During lockdown 1, literally, we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March. 5 days in, Grant sends me a video going, "Oh, barbers are closed." He shaved his head. Like, Grant, it's 5 days. You weren't even going to the barbers in that 5 days. Grant panicked and just shaved his hair off, and then he's just kind of stuck to it now.
New question: who picks up the most stupid fines?
Ooh,
Josh Gordon.
What's he getting fined?
Down,
What's he get fined for?
Absolutely, he's so sloppy and just silly. Like he'll leave stuff on the bus and the thing is, he won't accept it. He won't accept that he's been fined, so he battles and battles in the group chat saying, "No, I'm not paying. I'm just not paying it." When he's done what he's done. Like, I think he's obviously you're late. He lives in, I think, near Crewe Way, so they travel into Manchester, and he's late sometimes because the traffic's quite bad. And he's like, "Well, I've let them know I'm going to be late. I can't help it." I'm like, "Well, you're still late," and then he battles and says, "I'm not paying it." And I think then obviously because he gets like that, people spin that we've got a wheel that they spin, and it lands on nominate, and then they nominate Josh just because it annoys him even more. So he gets fined and then has to pay other people's fines as well.
I love it. Who's the first one out in the bleep test?
I've never done one with them.
So who's the slowest in the team then?
Slowest. Tom White.
I thought you were going to say Canavan.
He's too scared to say Canavan.
Just too scared to do it.
Canavan's actually quite quick. No,
Is
Tom
it?
White. Tom White. Slowest.
Final question. I think you know what might be coming.
He's not from Dan, is it, in Barrow?
No.
Oh, no.
Answer this question however way you will.
Dom Telford, by the way, didn't even hesitate.
Oh, now, do you know how much pressure you've just stuck on me?
Who's the longest in the shower?
George Ray.
The worst part was, right? I'm so glad you did that and just shut up, because Dom Telford didn't just say it. He went on to explain and we had to stop him. Like, Dom, no, please. It was like, hands down, by far. It's not even like, Dom, we don't need to know.
I can explain why if you want me to.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, I think he has a ritual every. I don't know what day it is, but he shaves every hair on his body, and he'll just be in there for ages, just shave it.
What, he does it at the club?
Yeah,
That's insane.
everything, every bit of hair. Every single. Right. So yeah, I've explained that.
Well, we've reached the end. Well, I say the end, it's not the end. You still got your career, but we've reached the end of your career till this point here. It sounded like a final moment then, didn't it?
No.
And now...
Yeah. So, honestly, genuinely, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. We really enjoy doing things like this, and it's still new to us. So we're trying to make them a bit different. We don't do it too serious. I don't know if you noticed. That's why
we do have a favour to ask you, though.
Oh, do we ask this off camera?
We'll ask it off camera after. Yeah,
we'll ask it off camera after. Yeah, it's a good favour.
Okay.
It's a challenge.
Okay.
So, yeah, honestly, thank you for coming on. Guys, everyone who's watched, thank you very much for watching. Grant is going to walk us out. I got the point correct.
Yay, we've got the point down. Everyone, thank you very much for listening once again. This has been great fun. I think we're just loving this more and more. I'm doing these interviews every week. Ben, thank you so much for coming in, man. It's been brilliant to have us. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Everyone, give us a follow on all of our socials, like it, hit that retweet button, share it out, whatever the hell you want. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Music, leave a comment. Cool, everyone. We've been in the lower league. Look.
Cheers, guys.